This is what it's like at a real Colombian coffee farm. I went on my first trip to South America, visiting 3 different places in Colombia, and I'm going to show you what it was like in this video. I started in Cartagena with a short and speedy boat ride from the city to Tierra Bomba Island to spend some time at the luxury beach resort that's there. This part of Colombia can get pretty hot, so some beach and pool time is a great way to beat the heat. The sea itself is so nice and warm, so I started off by going in there, and let me tell you, I did not want to get out. But I eventually did because I also wanted to spend some time in the beautiful pool at the resort and have some lunch because they have some very yummy food options. But then it was time to head back to Cartagena to do a tour of the historic Old Town area. It's surrounded by 11 kilometers of walls that date back 400 years, and inside are beautiful old buildings with lots of color and character. We walked around to check it all out and met up with some Colombian musicians who got us dancing and drinking aguardiente, which means fiery water. Then they followed us around for the last part of our walk until we ended up outside the walls at a bar to have a mojito and learn some Colombian dance moves. It's hard to keep up with Latin dancers because, man, they have got some moves, but I think as a Canadian, I did a decent job. And finally, because you can never have too much time around the water, I went on a boat ride in the harbor to take in the views as day turned to night. And although I'm mainly talking about the beautiful city views, the views on board weren't bad either. That's one of the guys from Out In Colombia who organized all this. And we finished off the night with some delicious food made right on board. And needless to say, this was all a pretty amazing way to experience this part of Colombia. Cartagena had hot weather because it's on Colombia's Caribbean coast, but the next place I visited is actually in the mountains and referred to as the City of Eternal Spring for its temperate weather. This is Medellin, the second largest city in Colombia, and the first thing I did was find some Colombian coffee. They actually export most of their best coffee, so you have to make sure that you find a good spot to get the good stuff. In the downtown area, there are a bunch of Botero statues. It's basically an outdoor museum in what's called Plaza Botero. There are 23 of his giant bronze sculptures there, and people can interact with them, take pictures with them. And then not far from there is the National Palace Mall, which is a really unique shopping center that was built in 1920 as the Palace of Justice. And now the first floor is entirely shoe stores, while the top floors are basically tons of little art galleries to check out. From there you can walk around the outdoor market area to find all kinds of interesting or knockoff items if you want to do some shopping, maybe get a deal. And you can take a ride on their transit system, which is actually really impressive. It's like an outdoor art gallery of murals as you ride on the train, but there's also a gondola system that you can take to get up to some of the harder to reach areas, which makes it great for the locals and also gives you some amazing views along the way. The Memory House Museum is a pretty solemn but interesting and educational museum with exhibits that cover different perspectives on Colombian wars and armed conflicts. Over in the Moravia neighborhood is a cultural center that offers all kinds of art, dance, and music opportunities for the locals. This neighborhood was once a landfill, and now it's really going through a transformation. You can walk around and see beautiful murals. Like, look at all this really nice art. And then I even added to a new one that was being painted by the artist. She had me add a bit of color to one part, which was super cool. You know, this might be an area still in transition, but all of this is what makes for a beautiful and unique city in this part of Colombia. And finally, I took a 2-hour drive from Medellin to the heart of Colombia to really experience coffee culture by going to an authentic family-run coffee farm. Fredonia is just under 60 kilometers from Medellin, and that's where you find the Café de la Cima farm. They have a 5-hour tour where one of the family members who owns the farm takes you through the entire coffee process from start to finish. We hiked up among the incredible scenery, picked some coffee berries at this point, and then even got to take a coffee plant, find a spot to put it in the ground, and plant it so that later somebody will enjoy a delicious cup of coffee that I planted with my own 2 hands. And from there, we're really high up, so rather than trekking back loads of berries, they actually have this water draining system. So we can just wash down the berries, and then they go through a whole process of having the skins removed and the bad ones taken out, and eventually they get put into a roasting machine, and finally it's all packaged up for people to enjoy. But of course the tour can't end without us trying a delicious cup of freshly brewed coffee, which I guarantee does not taste like the coffee that you're getting from your regular coffee shop. And that was my visit to Colombia, specifically Cartagena and Medellin, with a day trip to the coffee farm. Both of those cities are quite different in what they offer, but both spots are definitely worth visiting if you want to check out a couple places when you go to Colombia. If you're new to my videos, please subscribe for more travel content to LGBTQ-friendly destinations, and follow me on Instagram at Josh Reimer to see photos and reels from my trips as well as stories in real time. Bye!